Hello students, now we are starting the revision of human reproduction. We'll complete this chapter under these subheadings. These are male reproductive system, the anatomy part, female reproductive system, then gametogenesis, then menstrual cycle, then fertilization and implantation, then pregnancy and embryonic development, then parturition and lactation. Under these subheadings, we'll complete this topic. Now to begin with, some very basic points about human reproductive system. We know that we are viviparous. There is a birth of young one. The gonads means the primary sex organs. And what are the primary sex organs? The organs which help in formation of gametes. What are gametes? The sex cells, the gametes, the haploid sex cells. Now, so where the gametes are formed? Gametes are formed in the gonads. These are the primary sex organs. Gonads in males, we know we have a pair of testes, and the gonads in females, pair of ovaries. Fertilization is internal. Fertilization is internal. Development is direct development. There is no intermediate larval stage, direct development. And the placenta formed. You can learn the type of placenta. The placenta is hemochorial type. One more classification. So there are many classifications of placenta. According to another classification, human placenta is chorioallantoic. We'll discuss about these two in the placenta and development. So right now, these are the basic points. We'll revise the male reproductive system first. These are the points that we are going to discuss in the male reproductive system. The male gonads, the testes, along with some accessory ducts. Next, some accessory glands, very important. And then the external genitalia. So, we'll start with the testes and accessory ducts first. These are the points to discuss in the testes. Very important point, in humans the testes is extra abdominal, outside the body cavity. It lies in a bag of skin, a pouch of skin known as scrotum. Now the purpose is to maintain the temperature in the testes round about 2 to 2.5 centimeter lower than the core body temperature. Why? Because spermatogenesis, the gametogenesis requires that particular temperature. So, the temperature, to maintain the temperature 2 to 2.5 degree Celsius lower than the core body temperature. The core body temperature is 37 degree Celsius. And now you can calculate what will be the ideal temperature for spermatogenesis. My dear students, the dimensions of testes, the width and the length, easy to remember that way. The width is about 2 to 3 centimeters. And the length is about 4 to 5 centimeters. So, it is a continuation of numbers 2, 3, 4, 5. Hence, you can remember width and the length. Each testis, we have a pair of testes. Each testis is made up of many testicular lobules. Approximately 250 testicular lobules. These are the compartments inside the testes. In every compartment, there are coil tubules known as seminiferous tubules. Maybe 1 to 3, ranging from 1 to 3 such seminiferous tubules. And these are the sites of spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis site. Seminiferous tubules. Testicular lobules about 250 in number, and in each testicular lobule about 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules, which are the very site of gametogenesis. The structure of testis. This is a section of the scrotum, including the testes and accessory ducts along with the testes. Now there are 3 coverings of testes, 3 coats. The internal coat is the vascular coat. This is same as any other capsule, which is tunica albuginea, made up of white fibrous connective tissue, and its extensions inside the testes makes the testicular lobules. You should recall the number of testicular lobules, and each testicular lobule has got these tubules called seminiferous tubules, about 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. And this is the section of the seminiferous tubule, the section of each lobule along with these seminiferous tubules. So here you can see 1, 2, 3 seminiferous tubules, and the remaining tissue is the connective tissue. It is called the interstitium, and there are some group of cells in the interstitium called interstitial cells, also known as the Leydig cells. So these are the Leydig, very important, Leydig cells or interstitial cells. Function of these cells make the male sex hormones, the androgens. And we know that the main androgen is testosterone. So we can say Leydig cells, they synthesize testosterone. Coming back to this structure, each seminiferous tubule has 2 types of cells. One is, as usual, the male germ cells called spermatogonia. Gonia means mother cells. Spermatogonia, sperm mother cells. We label the structure, and we know this is the outermost, the bag, the pouch called scrotum, made up of skin, folded skin. Now these are seminiferous tubules, 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. Then these are the testicular lobules, and the seminiferous tubules, when they come out of the testicular lobule, they form a grid. They all form a grid, and this grid is known as rete testis. Rete testis. Now, so the sperms, after being synthesized, will come in the grid, and from this grid they will pass on to this structure, highly folded tubules known as epididymis. Epididymis, highly folded structure. This is the head of epididymis, the body of epididymis, and the tail of epididymis. Now this highly coiled tubule then continue as the vas deferens. Vas deferens. This is the same vas deferens which is being cut and ligated. So the 2 ends are cut and ligated in male sterilization surgery. We know that is called vasectomy. But always remember, both the vas deferens should be cut and ligated. Otherwise, the purpose will not be solved. So these straight tubules which connect the rete testes to epididymis, these tubules are known as vasa efferentia. Vasa, plural of vas, means many tubules. Efferentia. Efferentia. These are ciliated tubules. The cells they have cilia. Remember that till the sperms reach the epididymis, they are not motile. The sperms become motile only when they reach this structure, epididymis. So, where they are formed? They are formed in the seminiferous tubules. From the seminiferous tubules, they go to the rete testes. From the rete testes, they will reach epididymis through these straight ciliated tubules known as vasa efferentia. And from the epididymis, they will enter into the abdominal cavity through this folded tube, which is known as vas deferens. And the outermost is the scrotum. Let us now see the transverse section of this lobule. This is the section of testicular lobule, one testicular lobule. We know that it has got 1 to 3 tubules known as seminiferous tubules, which are the sites of gametogenesis. So, we can see the cut section here. This is the interstitium, the ground tissue. There will be connective tissue, and these are some cells in the interstitium. We know that these cells are known as Leydig cells, or we can simply call them interstitial cells or Leydig cells. Interstitial cells or Leydig cells. Now, each tubule is made up of two types of cells. One is the male germ cell, which is known as spermatogonia. Spermatogonia means sperm mother cells. Gonia means mother cells. Not to forget that these are the diploid cells, and they divide by meiotic division to produce haploid sperms. So, sperms are haploid, but their mother cells are diploid cells. These are this tall one that you see here. These are the Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells. What do? They nourish these developing spermatozoa. They do the nourishment. They are also known as the nurse cells. Nurse cells or sustentacular cells, but most commonly Sertoli cells. Sperms are produced here. These are the differentiated sperms, and then they pass on through the accessory duct system that we have just now understood. Apart from these cells, there are some immunocompetent cells also present in the testes. Immunocompetent cells. What are these? These are WBCs, the leukocytes. Immunocompetent cells. Leydig cells produce androgens. Leydig cells produce androgens. Androgens are the male sex hormones, and the principal androgen is testosterone. Now, along with the interstitial cells or the Leydig cells, around the tubule, means in the interstitium, some immunocompetent cells are also present. Immunocompetent cells. First of all, I will name them, then you will understand what are these cells. Immunocompetent cells, for example, the WBCs, the macrophages, what other, the monocytes, both the type of lymphocytes, both the type of lymphocytes, T cells and the B cells lymphocytes. These are some examples of immunocompetent cells present in the human testes. Immunocompetent, as the name indicates and the examples indicate, that these cells can help in generating an immune response. This is a very important diagram of the male reproductive system. Till epididymis and vas deferens we have seen in the previous diagram. Vas deferens, now this is continuing from the epididymis, and epididymis are at the posterior aspect of the testes. Vas deferens ascends up and enter into the abdominal cavity. After entering into abdominal cavity, they loop over the urinary bladder and then they merge with the duct coming from one of the accessory glands in man known as the seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle is one of the accessory glands in man. Vas deferens merges with the duct coming from seminal vesicle and form the ejaculatory duct. The ejaculatory duct then enters into the main urethra arising from the urinary bladder. We label some structures. This is the urinary bladder, UB, urinary bladder. This is the vas deferens of one side. Seminal vesicle. Now, I have tried to show, although it is not easily visible, but I have tried to show this here. For example, this is the vas deferens, seminal vesicle and the duct from seminal vesicle. Both these merge together to form one duct which is known as ejaculatory duct. Ejaculatory duct. This is an important question. This is an important question. So, let us now continue and then it enters into the urethra. The urethra is arising from the urinary bladder. So, urethra, so this is part of urethra known as prostatic urethra. This small part is called membranous urethra, and then this is the male external genitalia, the male copulatory organ which is called penis. So, this is the section of penis, and the urethra then enters into the penis and then opens to outside. So, this is prostatic urethra because it is inside this gland known as the prostate gland. An important point to note down here is that we have a single prostate gland median. It is lying median. We have only one prostate gland wherein we have two seminal vesicles, two vasa differentia, one urethra, right. So, prostate, it opens ducts into the urethra. This is the part of urethra called prostatic urethra. This part of urethra is called membranous urethra, and the remaining part of urethra is called penile urethra because it is inside the penis. Now, maybe you cannot notice the bottom of the diagram. I have tried to enlarge it and show here. So, what is this? This is the urethra, the penile urethra. This is the part of penis known as glans penis, and then this is the external urethral meatus, This opening is external urethral meatus. So, let us now enumerate the accessory glands in man. Number 1, seminal vesicle. Number 2, prostate gland, and number 3, these small bulb-like glands pair. These are known as bulbourethral gland. Their number, we have one pair of seminal vesicle, a single prostate, and one pair of bulbourethral glands. Bulbourethral glands are also known as the Cowper's gland. They are also called Cowper's gland. The penis is the male external genitalia. It is the male copulatory organ. It is made up of erectile tissue. It is made up of erectile tissue which helps in erection, ultimately helping in insemination. Insemination is the process of transfer of semen inside the female genital. Insemination is the introduction of semen inside the female genital tract. You know that insemination can be natural or it can be done artificial. This enlarged end of the penis is known as glans penis. I have drawn this part here. It is called the glans penis. Inside this is the urethra and this is the external urethral meatus. These glands help in formation of semen. These bulbourethral glands also help in lubrication, which helps in coitus. Bulbourethral glands also help in lubrication of penis. Secretion of these glands help in formation of seminal plasma, the medium through which the sperms travel. Seminal plasma is rich in fructose. It is rich in calcium and certain enzymes, certain proteolytic enzymes. The seminal plasma can be stored at a very low temperature, and you know that this procedure is called cryopreservation. It can be used for insemination, and nowadays it can also be used to store, to collect the genetic material. Sperms stored at low temperature is called cryopreservation. The stored sperm can be used for artificial insemination, or it can also be used to preserve the genetic material. After the male reproductive system, let us now begin the female reproductive system. The different parts of female reproductive system are ovaries. How many? One pair. Oviducts, also known as fallopian tubes. How many? Again, one pair. One pair. Uterus, one uterus, and vagina, again one. The parts of uterus are fundus, the main body, and a narrow part of the uterus called cervix. The literal meaning of cervix is neck. The meaning is neck. So it is a neck of uterus. All these structures lie in the pelvis. Along with them, mammary glands. How many? One pair. Form an integrated system. Now this complete is an integrated system, and how they integrate? They integrate not only anatomically but also physiologically, and they help in the process of birth, the process of gametogenesis in the ovaries, ovulation, which is the release of ovum, fertilization in the fallopian tubes, pregnancy, gestation in the uterus, and the childbirth, and after that child care by mammary glands. The structures of female reproductive system. Now this is the ovary, which is the female gonad, the uterus, this is the uterine cavity, and this yellow colored duct that you see, this is the fallopian duct or oviduct. The different parts of the fallopian duct, This part is known as isthmus. Isthmus. This is a very important part and it is known as ampulla. Ampulla, this funnel shaped part, this is infundibulum. Isthmus is the narrowest part. This is a widened part and this is a funnel shaped part. These finger like projections, these are called fimbriae. Fimbriae. Ovary is in its place by many ovarian ligaments. This is the ovarian ligament, the main ovarian ligament. Now this one is broad and it is called so, it is the broad ligament. Students, you have to understand that ovary is suspended with the help of these ligaments. Ligaments means fibrous bands, fibrous structure. And with the help of these ligaments, ovary is connected to the wall of uterus, along with that the wall of abdominal cavity. This is a uterine cavity, this is the internal lining of uterus. This is known as endometrium. A very important internal lining called endometrium. This is the main muscular one, the thickest layer of the uterus, and this is known as the myometrium. Myometrium, and the outermost one is called perimetrium. Let's go from outside to inside: perimetrium, endometrium, and myometrium. From outside to inside, the outermost is perimetrium. The middle one is the muscular one, myometrium. This is muscular layer and the thickest layer. Perimetrium, myometrium, and the internal one which I have shown by blue color, this is the endometrium. This is the site of implantation. This undergoes periodic changes. Every month this undergoes changes under the influence of hormones. This is vagina. And this narrow part of the uterus, this is called cervix of the uterus. This is the birth canal inside the cervix. This is the birth canal. The different parts of uterus, the fundus, this is the fundus, the main body, and as I told you earlier, this is the cervix. This is the site of cancer of the uterus, carcinoma. And uterine carcinoma is the most common carcinoma in Indian women, particularly in the rural India. The most common carcinoma in Indian women is uterine carcinoma. Cancer of the uterus is basically cancer of the cervix. So the three parts of the uterus: fundus, body, and cervix. Remember, this is the cavity of cervix is called cervical canal, and this is vagina. Cervical canal along with vagina forms what is known as the birth canal. Important point for NEET.